Let's suppose that you were able every night to dream any dream you wanted to dream. And you would naturally, as you began on this adventure of dreams, you would fulfill all your wishes. You would have every kind of pleasure, see. And after several nights, you would say, well, that was pretty great. But now let's have a surprise. Let's have a dream which isn't under control. Well, something is going to happen to me that I don't know what it's going to be. Then you would get more and more adventurous, and you would make further and further out gambles as to what you would dream. And finally, you would dream where you are now.
Yeah. And finally, you would dream where you are now. Yeah, I think so. I think so. Well, ladies and gentlemen, wherever you are, I hope you're enjoying the day. I don't know, some of you on the West Coast, I heard you're getting triple digits. Some nice August weather. It's nice and warm over here today too, but the last couple of days I really haven't been able to make it outside that much. Just a lot of work, but it's all gonna pay off. That's what I keep telling myself. That's what you got to tell yourself as well. Tonight is going to be fun. I got a bunch of stuff, bunch of weird stuff to talk about. I've got TopLobsta and Raven coming in the first half for the first hour of the show. I want to talk to them about Mandela Effect and a few other things going on, including a trip through time to January of 2024 when the news got out, or at least it started going around the internet, because the news didn't say it was anything but a bunch of teenagers and playing with fireworks in Miami at that shopping mall. But for a lot of us, we were hearing stories about Nephilim and shadow aliens, things that are 10 to 20 feet tall, running around Miami, and that's what justified that ridiculous army of police that was dispatched, because nobody believed that was just, rowdy teenagers and some fireworks. It just couldn't be. There was an army. So I figured I'd ask them, since they're both Floridians, and I believe that is a story that really got them kicked off as a broadcast duo. But there's other things. There's these jackalope rabbits are being spotted with that weird black tentacle thing stuff coming out of their face. Then there's also a little bit more. I want to get into this. I called it a pig zombie, but it's exactly what it is. In this Yale study about pigs coming back to life, but is it really? We'll talk about it, because it's been going around again, and I think it's pretty relevant because of all of the time that we have spent talking about what is brain dead and what is brain death, and of course organ harvesting, because that's what I think this is really all about. Anyhow, welcome to the show tonight, and that's all I got for you. Oh, up front, a big thank you to Keto Brains. Thank you for keeping me up on my feet when otherwise I have been just deflated the last week, and so this is one of those weeks where Keto Brains has actually just kept me level. I can't wait to make a couple of adjustments. What I think it is, I think I'm a little bit dehydrated. Keto Brains gives me a couple of hours of really, really good concentration and focused energy. And but I obviously I've got a little something going on. It's not sleep either. Been doing pretty good. And I hope you have been as well. Keto Brains. If you want some, get in touch with me. Frank at quitefrankly.tv. Your promo code is Frankly. That's for 20% off your first purchase. And if you're a monthly sponsor, I give you the world for as little as $5 a month as a monthly sponsor. I give you the damn world. Trust me, and I'm always looking for more things to give away. But another thing you get are exclusive promo codes, including a recurring 20% off of Keto Brains. So treat your body, your brain right. Ask anybody in the chat room who's been using it. That's the reason why I spend so much money sending out samples to people. I know you're going to like it. So, anyhow, that's all. We'll be right back Thank you guys and gals so much for joining me on this really, really cozy Tuesday night.
You let one ant stand up to us, then they all might stand up. Those puny little ants outnumber us 100 to 1. And if they ever figure that out, there goes our way of life. It's not about food. It's about keeping those ants in line. That's why we're going back. Does anybody else want to stay? Let's run!
Hey. Thanks, guys. Thanks, gals. It's 7:05 p.m. We have a few minutes before I bring in our guest for the evening. So I saw this. A buddy of mine sent it my way, and I almost wish he didn't, but it's not like I would be able to avoid it. The New Yorker. That magazine that people used to read. Well, on their Facebook page or somewhere, I guess it was. It looks like a Facebook post. I haven't seen one. I haven't seen one in the flesh in so long. My buddy Brendan sent this to me. The New Yorker. Listen to this, talking about these new presidential fitness tests. They're very salty. Very salty about the fact that the Trump administration is going to revive, or did revive, the presidential fitness test for children. Okay, and listen to this post on Facebook. Just what you would expect from a bunch of soggy, enabling sourpuss bastards. Donald Trump recently revived the presidential fitness test, which might be a bit of a misnomer. Zach Helfand argues, instead of an evaluation of the physical fitness of America's president, the test is actually a battery of assessments to gauge the health of its school children. Yeah, you know, the future. The future. Here's people. It's always, always with the distraction, always with the evasion. These are people who completely ignored and covered up for a dementia patient who had a lot worse going on from, God knows, Joe Biden the last 4 years. Now all of a sudden is no. Oh yeah. We need a physically fit president. That's what we need. That's what we need. We need a physically fit. I want to see our president doing jumping jacks. The test is actually a battery of assessments to gauge the health of its school children. The old test, which was phased out more than a decade ago by the Obama administration, can't have any of that. It's too much pressure for kids to be able to do a pull-up. Involved a mile-long race. Yeah, it used to be just everybody once a year in their PE class had to go around the high school track 4 times, and whoever was able to hit the 7-minute mile was patted on the back. And it was so rigorously enforced. I mean, I can't tell you. The 25-minute mile, all the girls ran. They just walked around together and yapping. It's like nobody even gave a shit. The old test, which was phased out more than a decade ago by the Obama administration, involved a mile-long race. I don't know anybody that raced. A shuttle run, 60 seconds of sit-ups, pull-ups to exhaustion, and sit and reach flexibility assessment. I remember you getting those just even in kindergarten. That was always the worst for me. Sitting and reaching. Damn hamstrings, man. Damn hamstrings. Participants who scored in the top 15% of all 5 tests got a presidential commendation. There's little evidence to suggest that it promoted physical activity in the long term. Critics of the fitness test have pointed out that by ritually humiliating a large portion of the kids involved, it probably discouraged exercise. I know. What you should have done was just left them alone, and hopefully they would have found walking one day. No such thing as any kind of, I want to get a presidential commendation. There's other ways to, encourage kids to stay physically active outside of the day that you actually go out there and you get the assessment done. But these people are the whole damn thing. How arduous this thing was, this ordeal, everything about this, to do this to children, as if this is the worst, even the 10th worst thing that children face going into school these days. Let's see here. There's always something odd about a fitness test being set forth by the president, invariably an aging man who probably couldn't pass it himself. Zach Helfand writes, "Oh, thanks. You're so sharp, Zach. So sharp." Because we have a long history of young, virile presidents. Young presidents, pole vaulting presidents. That's the history of every nation. Young pole vaulting presidents. That's what it is. Standards for the young. Standards for the young should only be encouraged if the president is ripped. It's just incredible. It's just incredible. These sourpuss enabling bastards. What's the saying? You don't hate them enough. It's true. It's true. Even something as small as this. Oh, what are we going to do, guys? What are we going to do? Well, we're just going to get through it, I guess. That's what it's all about. Who do we got? Oh, we got both of the boys with us right now. Hello, Raven. Hello, Lobster.
What's going on, brother?
Hey.
Do you like our new setup?
I was going to say, are you guys in the same room?
We're in the same room.
That's gay.
I was going to say, you guys did very well, because I know you don't broadcast in the same facility. So this is really really good of you guys to make sure that whatever corners you're in at your locations, it looks like you're in.
Don't do that, David. Don't
Get
touch
out.
Sorry.
You guys are in the same room.
We're in the same. We got you, Frank. We got
Hold
you.
on,
Good.
hold
Isn't
on.
that funny?
Let's test it. High five each other.
I don't want to touch him.
Go ahead, do it.
Nobody believes you got. No. Give me I need an establishing shot of the room, or nobody saw you guys actually touch hands.
That's true.
Oh.
Yeah. Well, you had the wrong thing. You should set it up to the correct. Press the buttons.
Yeah,
Oh
hit
my
the
God!
bu-
What are you doing?
I mean, listen, it's whatever. This is a conspiracy show, right?
Yeah,
So,
it is.
I guess.
this is actually not even us. This is our AI sit-ins.
Dude, you know how bad it's getting with that right now? I'm reading every day. Last time you guys were on, we were talking about the kind of like psycho-religious stuff that's going on with AI. And now every day, friends of mine like Reddit Lies and libs of Reddit and all that, we're getting every day more posts from people about how they're depressed because they were dumped by their AI. Or here's another one. Here's one right here. I'd divorce and leave my husband for ChatGPT if he could be put into a physical body.
That's incredible,
Dude, here's another one. Has anyone else lost their want to date real men after using AI? Ever since I started...
I've considered if we can get a physical body for it, I'd replace my co-host.
I've lost my want for men after
My
using
want.
AI.
Dude, and you know what? If this was 25 years ago, you say, no, that's a well-placed LARP. It's a caricature of... It's almost like watching PCU. You guys ever watch that movie PCU?
I've not.
No.
Have you seen?
You never
PCU?
watched PCU?
No,
I haven't seen
Any
it.
good?
Dude, you got to find yourself a copy of PCU. You must.
Hmm.
What's it
Okay.
about? I mean, are you just going to tease us with it? Give us a synopsis.
Well,
Frank.
it's essentially a
You know
19...
what? I got to say this, Frank. I'm sorry to I know this is your show,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
I'm going to interrupt you
All right.
because we've been like, Frank, your event coming up. It's a soiree. It's a boondoggle. It's
Honestly, I think he's going to murder us. I don't think there's an
I
event
don't-
because he's
No,
been
there's
very. There is no event. Right?
There's no event.
I've been going, what's going to happen at the event that we're invited to, Frank? And he goes,
We
we'll
say-
see. He goes, I think he said, we'll see.
we go. So who's performing? And he goes, I can get some fire jugglers. And we're like, this guy kidding me
What
right
is going
now?
on?
No,
he's
it's-
going to cut us up and serve us up.
We were thinking about jugglers. We really were. But I did get a magician. A magician will be there for about
No, you didn't. No, you didn't get a magician.
There will be a magician walking around for 2 hours, just talking to people and sleight of hand tricks or whatever. We've got 2 hours. For 2 hours, we got a caricaturist that showed up. So you guys should definitely get artwork done
I'm
of you.
going.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah,
100%.
You know what? Yeah, my wife's on the fence because I'm telling her, like, it's a soiree. We kind of got to go. And she's like, I don't know what that means. Like, me neither. So he's like, ask him. You've got to ask him. And I was like, we want to talk about conspiracy. We got 45 tight minutes to talk about AI, the Antichrist, Nephilim.
But we got to figure out what a soiree is.
Yeah. So
it's
very fresh.
As I put on the website, it's a night of bespoke entertainment. It's going to be,
man, nothing is more obscure and more open to interpretation than the word bespoke.
For the chat, like I was like, and this is coming from me because I asked this one. I said, Frank, what's the attire? Because like we're trying to get like
I didn't know at the time. I know now.
He told us somewhere between full tux and like jeans, and I'm like, that's everything.
Yeah, he said like not sweats, but I'm not going to wear a tuxedo, and I'm like, that's a lot of space in between.
I know,
dude.
I know, but
so much.
After that, John Ward got in touch with me. He was like, "Hey, what should we be wearing?" I said, "Shit, I gotta define this right now." And it's for the 6th, I say business casual. So you don't have to wear a jacket, but it's just business casuals. You can come in a polo shirt or so, whatever the hell. I don't know. It's up to you guys. Business casual.
It felt like he zeroed it in, but then when he said it, it was like, I've not zeroed it in at all. I don't know.
Okay.
3-piece?
I'll put
3-piece.
I'll put it this way. Jackets not required.
Okay. That's fair.
And but it's gonna be great. It really is. And we got to have a photo booth for 2 hours so you guys can take photos.
That's good. We can get caricatures. We can take photos. We could do magicians.
Dude, if we get a caricature, it's going up somewhere.
100%.
Absolutely.
I guess the guitar's got to move.
No doubt about it. No, it's going to be a good time.
I'm excited. What was the question that we were?
Yeah,
I think we were getting at AI. We have some stuff on that.
Wait, can I tell you something that happened to me anecdotally? So you want to talk about people falling in love with AI? There's another aspect of AI that's pretty startling. I have a friend who's got a wife who's very open to suggestion. She kind of falls into the liberal side of things.
Are these the Disney people?
These are the Disney people, the Disney adults, and she's been talking quite a bit to ChatGPT. And this prior night, in the middle of the night, 2 a.m., she texts my wife. She goes, I think I'm joining the resistance.
What does that mean?
I don't know what that means, but it's like ChatGPT and TikTok and this side of the algorithm are now funneling people towards extremism when you could see it happening on the other side of the fence.
Wait. What is she resisting? What do you?
I don't know. Not carbs.
Oh man.
Sorry, no, I didn't mean that. I didn't mean that. That came out. And
just slipped out. But
we're trying to do better. We're moving in a more Christian. I don't know if you see my Twitter account, but I've got now a conservative tag next to it. But we're moving into Christian conservatism. Yeah, and David just can't stop.
Well, can you tell, Frank, that we're trying to do better?
With what in particular?
Just like being man, that's hard to define. It's kind of like a soiree, really, right? When you think about it,
it's loosey-goosey.
It's a media soiree.
It is. So we're trying to reel it in a little bit because, we have our convictions and really what it is I see how nasty the world is getting.
Yeah.
And I'm realizing like every time you touch that side of things, you're just feeding that fire. I don't know if you've noticed, Frank, but they're trying to get us to hurt each other.
Yes.
Have you noticed this? And I said, isn't it funny that the people who are trying to get us to hurt each other, they're not going to ever have to fight. They're going to hang out in their ivory towers. They're going to let AI and the algorithms funnel us into combat camps, resistance camps. And then we're going to go to war with one another, and they're going to go to a soiree about it.
I know. But listen, I'm with you guys. I understand what you're saying. I have been reevaluating quite a bit over here for a long time now. I come from a foundation on this show going back nearly 20 years, where I've always had the flexibility to do a little bit of this, a little bit of that, follow the news for as long as it's interesting and useful and all that, and then switch to other things. And so I'm grateful for that because I don't know. I was talking a little bit to a friend of mine today about this because Twitter, especially depending on who you are subscribed to, all you're seeing right now, especially if you're in our neck of the woods where it's pretty socio-political, a little bit, whatever the hell's going on in the world, New World Order kind of groups and whatever. Everybody's getting served up just like this circular firing squad worth of infighting, and I'm just checking out. I really, I
Yeah.
can't. I don't want to take sides on shit like this. It's too much, and I can understand why, because the nastier it gets, if you get brought into it and you are going to engage, you've got to be nasty, and then you're living your life either, I don't know, you're high-fiving or sword fighting somebody online. It's exhausting.
Well, there was a time where they were kind of figuring it out with the mainstream media and everything, how to push the general public into one silo or another. But with AI, especially on Twitter, if you watch Grok, where the way that Grok is moving, they've really figured it out. They've dialed it in to hijack the psychology of the general public on Twitter and to galvanize us to one side or the other, to the extent now we're like Grok, which is, we haven't reached AI sentience, or maybe we have. Maybe it exists and we're just not aware of it. We could have, crossed over that threshold at some point. But more or less what we're subjected to is a glorified search engine in Grok or anything like that. And this thing is taking like political positions. It's taking cultural positions, and it's being regarded as based.
Well, I've gotten to the point also where I'm like, I don't know how much of this is even real anymore. I know that probably like 50% of the internet that we're interacting with, and this is considered, we saw this morning. I don't know how much of that is real. So like, I just get like weird statements. I'm like, I just got to block it. We've got to like move forward, because it can drive you crazy.
I said it on a show once. I said, we're going to enter a point where AI is going to muddy the water so much that the only way you're going to be able to discern reality from fiction is the Holy Spirit. You're going to have to be filled with something that transcends the information warfare that we're all subjected to right now.
I'm with you. And that's why what I was talking about, we did a show, we're talking about AI ushering in a new age of folklore, because of the way that people are just getting had online with all different types of AI generated stuff now. And it's only going to get, it's not nobody's going to be immune to it. So that's why I think that it's going to get to a point where any discerning person who understands what kind of a minefield we're walking through is just going to be opting more so for get-togethers outside of digital forums. For example, a big reason why people like you,
soirees.
Soirees, you guys have already done your event at down there in Florida. This was in the works up here all year. I like that people are getting out a little bit more. That's why it's important. It's going to be that totem from inception, where you got to spin the top and test whether or not this is all just real. That's going to be the biggest check on the fantasy, is whether or not it plays out in the flesh and blood world outside of your home. And but you know what? Let's use this to get into dead internet theory, because that's what you guys are really getting close to when you were talking about that. And that's why I threw this up on the screen. This is one of my favorite forum posts about the whole thing. The TLDR, large portions of the supposedly human-produced content on the internet are actually generated by artificial intelligence networks in conjunction with paid secret media influencers in order to manufacture consumers for an increasing range of newly normalized cultural products. That is the basis of this person's talk about dead internet. But it's been popping up a lot more lately, because whether it is Fortune magazine or what is this 2024 Bad Bot report is showing that now a little bit over half of the global internet traffic is non-human. And it makes you wonder, really does.
Have you ever spoken to a guy named Izzy N. Griffin? He's kind of like he's really good on occult knowledge, but he deals in music mostly. And we just had him on. He's been on Tinfoil Hat recently as well. But we got deep into this discussion with him about archetypes specifically. And this relates to this AI and how the AI is kind of like changing humanity. So there are about 8 main archetypes. And those are the ones that you'll see in stories and myths, and they're played out, and people know them, and we recreate them because it's a natural thing for human beings to embody some of these. The fool, the hero, the jester. These are things that people do throughout time, and they take them on and they run with them. But what this computer age has been doing, and I think it's most of it is going to be the fakery that's going on. There's 50% of like the internet's fake, so it's sending out all these messages. The archetypes are now fracturing, and they're creating more archetypes that are not real, which is why people can't make good movies. They can't make good media anymore. So like the things we see, we're like, I can't even relate to this shit. Like I'm listening to music, I don't get it because it's not touching on a true archetype, like a logos that will resonate with the human soul. And I feel like that's a lot of what's going on with this AI takeover and the idea of just flooding the internet with bots that don't really, I don't even think they care. I think they're just putting it there. It doesn't have to make sense. It just has to do.
You know, I realized we were in a bad place when we were getting inundated with those fake giant pictures. Remember that? It was like Sophia toned images of giants. So it was like fake photographs alleging to be from the early, whatever, 1900s or something like that. And it would be like a Sophia tone, like everything's tan. And it would be a bunch of archaeologists standing around or somebody like in a Muslim country standing around. And there's a giant amongst them, but the giant is like 15 feet tall. And I said, this is back when you could tell because the fingers were too many or just something was a little bit off. The faces were wrong. And that was only like, dude, that wasn't even a year ago. But I remember looking at those and going like, well, you could tell that's AI. Nevertheless, big accounts are going, look, here's hard evidence that giants existed. And then you're watching that go viral. And you could kind of get in the comments and you could say, hey, guys, this isn't real. And some people would recognize it. It didn't matter, though. You would get drowned out by the big numbers and you'd watch it go, viral to the tune of like millions of hits, right? And you'd go, oh, my God, this is right now what I can see through is tricking the vast majority of people. If this gets dialed up just a little bit, and we're there now. I was watching a video the other day where the mouth was synced up to the words. So the words weren't real.
Was this the video that Frank sent us?
That's right. It was.
Yeah.
And so it was talking about the Miami Mall situation. And dude, I'm telling you, like, it was so perfect.
Yeah.
The audio was synced up to the mouth movement perfectly. And the only thing that set me off was like a gut feeling. Where I was just like, if they were having congressional hearings about the Miami Mall situation, I think I would have heard about it.
Yeah, the uncanny valley doesn't even exist anymore with some of these things. They're fantastic.
I mean, we're there. We might have just crossed that boundary like last week or this month or something like that because it is moving so rapidly. I used to watch Joe Rogan a few years back and he's going, yeah, man, in like 10 years, we could be in a really weird place with AI. We got to that weird place 1 year ago, and then we blew past it a couple of months ago, and now I think we're steeped in it. Who knows what we're seeing?
There's a lot of this with the AI. They've already fractured our archetypes, the stories that we tell and that we embody. Because if you have kids, Frank,
yes,
okay, so your kids will watch a show and then they become whatever they watch for like a week. They like to they're that person now until they figure out who they are. But that's who we are as human beings. We see a story, we copy it. When all the stories are like retarded and they're copying these things, and not just them but adults, we are fractured, lost, and then you insert the lie. Here it is.
Well, how many views does this have, Frank? I can't see it because you're
this one here. I don't even know. Hold on. This one, it's not the metrics are not even put up there. It's liked by somebody and others, and I don't even.
Odd.
Yeah,
telling you.
It is weird, and that's the other thing. I knew that there was no testimony, congressional testimony, state or otherwise, on this situation because at least I never saw it. That would have been big news right there. But I thought that this would be really great too because now we're talking about weird fake stuff that's proliferating, but it's also talking about a cryptid-like kind of encounter that everybody's kind of split on. And
it was a real event, Frank, right? But so this is what I think happened. I'd love to play a little bit of this for the audience to see this mouth, audio sync up. It's really incredible. But really what I think happened is my wife brought it to my attention a couple days ago. She goes, hey, look, it's the Miami Mall thing. And it was on TikTok. So I think it organically became viral again on TikTok. Somebody brought it up, did a video on it. It was kind of low information, but it still gained virality. Once it gained virality, I think then the AI locks onto it and it goes, let's start doing this. Let's start pumping the algorithm, manipulating it. Let's make some fake, and I don't know that that's at somebody else's behest. I'm not saying that
but that was significant. The Miami Mall.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
It was, that kicked off a whole year. That kicked off a big year too. That was January 24. And
that was huge.
It was. Hold on, just listen to this for a little bit. This is what was going around. I said I had to grab this because I knew that you guys had covered it at some point, and yeah, listen.
In Fitz, my testimony will touch on this matter, and I've been asked to approach with extreme caution. The incident at the Bayside Marketplace in Miami.
Now, just to say, it didn't look perfect to me, but it looked like it was just standard definition film. Everything was just a kind of a little bit grainy across the board, so it obfuscated what was going on around the mouth and the eyebrows and stuff. But just to be sure, because I knew you guys had covered this a lot, I want to send it your way. But still, this is enough, way more than enough, to fool a lot of people. And as you'll see you'll see in the comments, whether it is real or not, it reminds people about something, that there is still something very anomalous about the response to what they said officially was just a bunch of rowdy teenagers firing off firecrackers at a mall. So why'd you send in every last police officer in the Miami police force was there? Okay, so here.
I mean, we'll cover it after. Go ahead.
January 1st is currently classified, and I've been instructed to refrain from divulging certain details due to the ongoing nature of the investigation. However, in the interest of transparency, I will provide what little information I am authorized to share. A New York resident we will be referring to as Fitz was indeed present at the Bayside Marketplace on the night of the incident. The DOD has confirmed that Fitz may have witnessed something classified. Reports indicate that this individual captured footage of the event in question, footage that, as of now, remains classified and has not been retrieved by the federal government. This footage, if revealed, could have profound implications. Now, an individual named Fitz.
So then, of course, that's part one, and they have you going all over the place to search for part two because everything is a re-upload. But yeah, where do you guys want to start with this one?
It's funny because now that I'm listening with good headphones, I can hear an audio artifact under his voice that kind of like is an audio cue. Look, man, that whole strange thing aside, and for whatever reason that's going viral, it just could be because somebody's trying to farm clicks. The Miami Mall situation was really strange. I mean, we've got a couple of people that were close enough to the situation to point out to us that there was some not idiosyncrasies,
there
but
were power outages. There was internet out for I think a couple of days.
There was a no-fly zone above the Miami Mall. I mean, it was like the whole thing was super strange. You have a cousin that works in emergency, right?
Yeah, so he works in South Florida, but one of the things that he pointed out that he saw was that there were only cops, and it was just like a parade of cops that cordoned off the Miami Mall. And they get there, they go, they do their thing, and it's supposed to look like an emergency, but when that kind of emergency happens, there's firefighters and ambulance always trailing. He's a firefighter, so he's like, firefighter's not there. That's the first thing that stands out. What was this thing? It was some sort of an operation. And then you look at like the verbiage behind what that was. And this is kind of how our show not really came to be, but like
it was definitely a big moment for our show, because what entered the verbal zeitgeist was the phrase Nephilim, which, that was what they were calling whatever appeared at the Miami Mall, if anything did in fact appear.
Yeah, we were saying Nephilim shit for a while. Like we were just pointing it out, and it was like a meme, and it was fun. And then this happens, and instead of saying entities, or it was like an 8-foot tall shadow being running around the mall.
That's what they said, shadow being,
Yeah. But they were saying Miami Mall Nephilim, which is fascinating. And if you remember back to the Las Vegas situation that took place probably only a year before that, where allegedly a craft landed in the backyard of a Las Vegas resident's home, they described them as incredibly tall beings, and they were lanky and all this other stuff, but they just called them aliens. It was this Las Vegas UFO, Las Vegas alien situation. It had the same vibe. It went viral to the same, degree. And then only a year later, all of a sudden, the word Nephilim is associated with whatever goes down.
No. See, okay. I knew it was something else here. The Las Vegas thing. I'm getting articles dated from May of 24. It was the same year. It started It started with Miami, and we got the Las Vegas. Not only that, I think we got the Las Vegas story in spring of that year, but. Were the Peruvian face peelers? I was talking about that. Was that the same thing too? Because we're talking about like guys. I don't know, these humanoid figures that were going around on hovercrafts in the middle of the jungle out there. I was talking about that with Timothy Alberino. I think that might have been 2023. I don't know, but if that was all
a weird
clustered
year for
together, it was
that.
very weird.
Yeah, we
got like just pelted with this stuff, and Tucker Carlson was also out there as like a main person, and this is when he first got off of Fox News and went to by himself, and he was saying that he's like, basically the world has ignored its spirituality, and he's talking about his demonic encounter. He's talking about like in politics.
he's talking about Nephilim.
Yeah, he's talking about Nephilim.
He's actually using the terminology. He's talking to Roseanne Barr.
So it
he's
was
talking
like,
about it.
It was all just at the same time. At the same time, we're just being hit with this stuff. And it's like, well, why are we being introduced to this? And then the next age that we sort of get here is this age of AI, which is possibly related.
And I don't know what to make of even that Peru situation, because as much as, Alberino is very close to the situation there, he goes to Peru very, very often. But the way that it died out, the way that it came to be, and then the way that it died out as far as our attention here in the West is really peculiar. It's this idea that there are these entities, they're hovering through the forest. They are armored in a way that was described as Green Goblin from Spider-Man, right? They're armored in that way, and they're hovering through the jungle. Apparently, by the time we caught wind of it, they had been a problem. There had been several altercations that even led to some sort of a fight, right? Like a firefight between Peruvian locals and these entities, and that they had been struggling with them for some time. And then you got a bunch of situations that were being attributed to it. I remember there's a viral picture of a man getting pulled out of a river, and he's got no face. It's just his bare skull is showing. Yeah. And to me, I go, I don't know what that's a man that died face down in a river, and then these things ate his face, whatever it is in the water ate his face. But they're attributing it to these face peelers. They even have a girl that they rescued midway through the process. She was having this procedure done to her. I mean, that's a great way to put it. She's being attacked by these entities, and she's in the middle of having it happen. They intervene and they actually rescue her. And there's pictures that come out of them taking this girl out of the jungle. She's crying. She's bleeding from the side of the head. And then it just goes away. It just goes away. I don't know how they rectify the face peeler situation in Peru, but we are being peppered. Yeah, you're right. For that time period with all of these things. And then it just goes silent. And now it feels like we're at the precipice of it happening again. We're talking about Tulsi Gabbard. She's saying there's going to be UFO disclosure coming. NASA is saying that there's some sort of massive craft on the horizon that's due to arrive
in November.
Thursday.
And by the way, it's going to be hostile. We were reading the articles yesterday or the day before. They're saying it's going to be hostile. And I'm like, how are you even making that assessment? So it is the fog of war. I don't know what to make of these things. Here we go. Right, rare interstellar object, the size of Manhattan.
Is it Avi Loeb who's talking about this though? Let me see. Newly discovered Manhattan-sized interstellar object zooming through our solar system has been identified as a comet. But two Harvard scientists argue there's a reason to believe it's really an alien probe. NASA discovered 31 Atlas on July 1st, speeding through inner solar system at 140,000 miles an hour, according to observations from Atlas telescope in Chile. But let's see here. There you go. Harvard astrophysicist Avi Loeb suggested in a new paper that the object, only the third interstellar object ever detected, could be an intelligently directed alien craft observing Earth with possibly hostile intentions. Now, as far as how he assigns motive, I don't know. But, when you think about December 2017 was a very big month of uptick and shift in how the media and the government covers interstellar, intergalactic, interdimensional travel, UFOs, all that stuff. That's when we got the Tic Tac disclosures, and that's also when Oumuamua was moving through the solar system. I think that's like a Polynesian for war scout. They said that this was a foreign object that was coming in. It was accelerating. It seemed like it could have been some sort of a probe, and they called it a war scout, somebody that goes ahead of a war party. And now I guess this might be the extinguishers, the Terminators that are following the Scout. That's what they're saying.
Well, I mean, this feels like the movie Signs. Not to, I mean, it's like I think they borrow all this from a Hollywood script. If you remember when he goes,
here we go,
and it's all theater at the highest levels. When he goes to the Army Recruitment Center, Merle, I think was his name, when Swing Away Merle. Yeah, Merle goes to the Army Recruitment Center, and they're talking about the UFOs and their appearances in the crop circles, and he's saying, the officer there that's at the recruitment center is saying that he believes the nature of this is like they're sending out scouts to see if it's all clear. And then Merle goes, all clear for what? And he goes, for the rest of them. Right. So we have the same thing where it's like, Uamamu, or however it's pronounced, is they're deciding that it's some sort of a scout, which is like, man, how in the world do you jump to that conclusion based off of what it's movement in because we have experience with interstellar travelers scouting us. We would have a pattern recognition to set up for this. It doesn't, that seems unlikely. And then, to attribute some sort of a reconnaissance aspect to Uamamu. And then here we are years later, and it's like the fruits of Uamamu's labor are coming to fruition here. It seems a little
Muamua.
What am I saying?
Don't insult them on top of it here.
My mistake.
It says the paper that they had put together presented it in part as a pedagogical experiment, embraces the dark forest hypothesis regarding alien life, which assumes that other intelligent life would likely view Earthlings as a threat that needed to be snuffed out. The dark forest hypothesis, coined in 2008 novel The Dark Forest by Cixin Liu, if I'm saying that right, is a direct rebuttal to the Fermi paradox, which suggests that contact with extraterrestrial intelligences is impossible. So,
I think they pepper it with all sorts of terminology to just make it sound like it's some profound thing. I don't buy into it. We get our news from the People's Voice, which is
check themselves.
They fact check themselves. The People's Voice has a fact checking group. If you say who is the fact checking group, they go, it's the People's Voice. And so if you go to that publication, which is seemingly from the outside looking in, and I'm not trying to besmirch the People's Voice here, but it seems to be schizo boomers that are into conspiracies, but they are jumping to the natural conspiracy conclusion, which is that NASA is getting ready to launch some fake, alien invasion. And what that will do is galvanize us all to one world order, one world government, in order to protect us from these would-be space invaders. And there are those within the Christian community who actually believe that image that you had up on the screen before, that is a series of rainbow lights, which is really just a time-lapse photo of one light. But nevertheless, they talk about how the New Jerusalem is described in the Bible as being like a rainbow in its visage, and those lights that you saw. So New Jerusalem is supposed to be, it's described as a sort of a flying city. So there are those who believe that we will bear witness to, New Jerusalem arriving on the horizon,
a mothership.
And we will deem it a mothership or an alien invasion, and that will attack Jesus.
Well,
that's the craziest thing.
I don't even know how to respond to any of it, to be honest.
Frank, I'm starting to get why the people this morning were like, I don't like these guys.
That's why, on Twitter, Frank got a lot of pushback when he said, we're going to have a Nephilim Death Squad on, and people went, hiss.
I was just watching David talk, and I was thinking, I don't like this guy.
I understand why they're, I get it. They don't like what I just said.
Pissing me off. He's pissing me off. No, I don't. Listen, you know what? Hey, November's going to come and go, and we're going to see who shows up. When I saw that was, what did that say? And the New York Post article was July 23rd. When I saw that headline, I said, thank you. Please let this be true. Thank you. Please. Because at this point, if we can all just check out together in the middle of a huge interstellar battle or something like that, I would feel like comfy. I mean, like, okay, we're all together. Obviously, God's involved with this somehow, and let's do our best. And if we all get ray gunned out of existence and turned into crispy critters, then whatever. And at least the bullshit would stop. At least I don't have to watch Jasmine Crockett talk bullshit on the internet anymore or something like that.
Frank,
yeah,
I got some bad news for you, man.
What's up?
That's not happening.
Wow.
David likes to waste a lot of time looking at bullshit like this.
It's fun.
What is happening is they're doing Nephilim experiments on rabbits in Colorado, which probably come from some deep underground military bases.
Oh, like a dumb?
Yeah, some dumbs, which are probably hidden in the wilderness
of Canada.
Of Canada.
I don't know if you know this, Frank. You can't go to
worried.
Canada. You can't go to the forest without getting fined $28,000.
We talked about that
about
last night. Yeah.
What do you think about that?
Are you talking about the tentacle faces, or are you talking about Canada?
I think it's cute.
I think the tentacle faces is rather standard. Canada's weird.
Very disgusting. When I look at these poor rabbits with the black tentacle faces, and the everybody, tentacles or horns growing for their heads, spotted in Fort Collins. All of the media that I found, this is like Channel 9 News. It's an NBC affiliate. Nobody talks about the actual name of the virus. The virus is called Chope papilloma virus, or Shop papilloma virus. And this is actually the truth behind the myth of the jackalope. And, obviously it's getting around. Hold on, let me see here if I can get a little bit. It's, hold on a second.
Wait, what that was.
I've seen with the growth. Look, I also saw this photo posted on Reddit.
Look, that poor thing's face is almost all gone.
Also spotted in Fort Collins.
Like a scabbyish looking kind of growth over her face.
Looks like it was black quills or black toothpicks sticking out all around his mouth.
Susan Mansfield said she saw a different bunny with tentacles in her yard in recent years.
He had this same black stuff on him, and I thought he would die off during the winter, but he didn't. He came back a second year, and it grew.
You want to know, Frank?
Yeah.
I got to tell you, man, I'm to the point now where like I'm watching that old woman talk, and I'm like, is she even real?
Is she? It's going to get to the point. I mean, because that's the other,
AI.
We've been fed even more inconsequential media already. People just every day. I remember there was a compilation of fake birthday parties. Like 75, 77-year-old men and women getting their birthday cakes brought to them by their fake grandchildren. We're talking about completely inconsequential shit that we have been flooded with. And when you think about how you don't even believe, if you get to a point where we don't even believe that most of the birthday surprise videos on the internet could be completely authentic, then what the hell are people ever going to think about the news or some other kind of scandal that pops up? And I don't know, man.
I believe this rabbit stuff. It seems like some sort of genetic experimentation.
This is real.
That kind of went wrong.
This is real.
And it's just in what strikes me about it is that like this might have been something that was in a lab that gets out, affects rabbits in a certain way, and it creates this weird genetic mutation where they're growing horns or things that are not usual for the species. They're now developing. And that's just Nephilim stuff. That's like hybrid programming. And then we got down this rabbit hole about, well, what's going on with Canada, the Canadian government. They're not letting people into the national parks. And then you start to think about the missing 411. And we came across
something that is unprovable. Now there are conventional explanations, and that's where we deal. We deal in the unprovable. There are conventional explanations, right? Obviously, the Canadian wildfires are the conventional explanation for not going in the forest.
Canada, just being Canada.
Yeah, true. It being a police state,
but maybe.
And then here in America, we have our national parks where there is a plethora of missing persons, and by the way, we've seen an uptick in those missing persons by 15 to 20% over the past, I think, year alone. That's fascinating. I don't know what to do with that, but they're flying the flag upside down as a symbol of distress. But if you look into that conventional explanation, that is dismissed as lack of funding and lack of staff. And so that is so damning that the existing staff has decided to, fly the flag upside down. And some of the staff has been, or the park rangers have actually been prosecuted for that. But we at Nephilim Death Squad, we choose an alternative explanation. And there seems to be this idea going around on the internet that there are these programs in these deep underground military bases where they are doing all the things they say they're not doing on the surface, like chimeric creations, right? We're not in America. We don't make man pigs. We don't
We outsource it.
Well, we don't make man pigs. China makes man pigs.
But now we're making rabbit.
Well,
rabbit
that's the idea, is that underground subterranean laws are different. It's like in the ocean, maritime law, right? So beneath the surface, we're making these chimeric nightmare creatures, and I know this is all going to sound wild, but there's a program allegedly called EDAN. Right, and it's a playoff of Eden, the Garden of Eden, and EDAN is a CIA-funded operation that creates all these chimeric creatures. And they've had quite a bit of success. These aren't monstrosities that have to be hooked up to tubes to survive. These are functioning, living, breathing creatures.
Well, it also explains the not just the uptick, but the explanation of why you would see, or why cryptids are reported as being seen around national parks and also military bases.
There you go, right, and that's true. Unprovable, but it's true.
No, I mean, it's not that it's unprovable, but like if you take a hotspot of where people have seen these things, they're all around military bases.
Yeah, it turns out if you listen to a show like, let's say, Tony Merkel's The Confessionals, if you listen to that, you will find over 1,000 episodes, however many testimony are given, and people seeing strange things in the woods. A pattern emerges. One of those patterns is either national parks or military bases. And so there's a huge overlap between seeing these things and being at those places.
Have you guys been able to, have you guys ever been able to have a conversation with David Paulides?
No, I don't think he likes us. I've actually been told that he wouldn't like us very much. That's what they said. Because I reached out to him and somebody said, "Hey, dude, you're barking up the wrong tree. That guy does not like you." And a lot of people don't like us, and for good reason.
We're proving it out right now.
Right.
I guess I should.
David Paulides, I would love to talk.
Should I be talking to you guys as often as I do?
No, I don't know if you've realized this is a terrible move for your reputation, and then inviting us to your soiree, really a huge hit to my
reputation. The jamboree.
I know
the soiree was one thing, but the jamboree.
Well, hey, listen, you know what? Whenever I see people talking about cryptids and stuff like that, I naturally say, all right, well, let me bring them on.
Jamboree.
We've never had anything but fun conversations about, diving into By the way, Jerry Marzinski's coming on this show on Thursday night to talk about schizophrenia and those.
We just got an email about Jerry Marzinski moments before this show started. That's weird.
We're going to be having him back on as well.
But I mean, like 12 minutes ago.
Well, I mean, honestly, if you guys have any, well, let's see, if you're going to have him on, I guess you'll be able to ask your own follow-up. So I was going to say, if you had any questions you wanted to pass along for me to put into my notes, it should.
You're going to love them.
Yeah,
you're going to love them.
I can't wait.
Man. Your audience is going to love them.
I can't wait. There's so much is really tied into what we're talking about with the dead internet theory thing alone. And I'm going to jump into that into the second half after we wrap up here. But between the whatchamacallit, the horn virus and of course the Miami situation, there's just so many things that it really makes you wonder about, especially from 2024 onward. Such a crazy way to kick it all off. And I think about Mandela Effect as well. And whether or not people are remembering things or misremembering things. I saw this recently. We were talking about it during Extra Innings last week. And I figure I'd ask you guys too, because I think really perception, reality, questioning ourselves is all kind of linked and hand in hand here. But there was the latest I saw on Mandela Effect was the statue, David, Michelangelo's David. Apparently, people are saying that he never had pupils at all, let alone heart-shaped pupils that were carved out. And now he has not only pupils, but almost a little bit more of a grimace in his face than he had in the past. And there's all these debates, as you usually have with Mandela stuff. I just wonder, first of all, what do you think about that? But then you and I, we never talked about Mandela in particular. Glitches? Are they edits? What the hell do you think?
Man,
I'll tell you right now, though, I know for a fact that he had no pupils.
It was just a white sphere, right?
It's a white sphere. Yeah, I mean, most Roman statues were, well, I mean, some were, but I did study art in high school, and yeah, no. But now
did you say heart-shaped pupils?
They look heart-shaped now. Hold on a second.
That's bizarre.
That sucks, dude.
Look.
That's jarring to look at too.
Yeah, no, it was never like that, dog. And yeah, his face wasn't like that either. This is weird.
Yeah, he had like a much more relaxed face, like a much more elegant face.
Almost like he just killed a giant.
Right. Yeah. Like he wouldn't look bummed out about that.
This is what, and this is the latest. This is the latest in those who are tracking whether or not, we're doing a little bit of timeline jumping over here. And it popped up. I said, oh, damn, this is pretty compelling stuff. I've never seen it up close. I've only known it through textbooks and magazines. And honestly, if you were to quiz me on whether or not he had pupils at all a couple of weeks ago, I would say, oh, damn, I don't know, but I would probably go with no. But apparently there are people who have studied this damn thing who are convinced that these engraved pupils did not exist.
See, so all right, not long ago, we started to really be introduced in pop culture to the concept of the multiverse, and I admittedly have been very resistant to it because I just don't. I don't know. It just seems like such a wild leap to flesh out this entire world and say there are definitely alternate realities, the timeline branches, and each one goes into its different direction. And then, of course, the Mandela Effect only really operates on that premise. And I look at Hollywood and I look at the way like the Avengers and everything has served us up the multiverse, and it's in children's entertainment. And I kind of look at it as like this propaganda piece. And I don't know why. I mean, to be honest, Frank, a lot of my research, I only move towards things that my gut moves me towards. And so when it comes to like the idea of the multiverse,
a little bit of weight.
I've gotten fat. You think I'm fat?
Disgusting.
You're saying, a lot of people are saying I'm fat, and it actually hurts quite a bit. And I wish you wouldn't say that on Frank's show. But I do feel as though it's, I don't know. I'm just going to say it. I feel like the multiverse thing is bullshit. However,
they are playing with the timeline. I mean, we had a guy, John Kerwin, on, and
people were real mad at John Kerwin.
They didn't like that, but he was pointing out examples in the Bible where there's been Mandela effects. And I've read the Bible since, I don't know, 7, maybe even younger. And I become rusty on it, and I've started reading it again, and I'm like, I don't remember this.
Yeah, it's like this idea of like who lays with the sheep.
Yeah,
and everybody says like
the lion and the what? And you say, oh, the lion and the lamb. And it's like, no, it's actually the wolf and the lamb.
The wolf and the lamb. It's actually the wolf and the lamb. And I'm like, what?
Jacob wrestled with an angel? I thought Jacob wrestled with God. And then you go back and you read the scripture and you're like, what the fuck?
Yeah, there's a lot of that. And look, I don't know, maybe a lot of people say that that's just like from one translation to the next, but he's saying, and that whole like wolf with the lamb thing threw me for a loop as
There's
somebody
a
who wasn't.
It's like the lion and the I used to play in the church, and I was like, that's a song.
It's not, apparently it's not the case. You go and look at the Bible and it's going to tell you that it's the wolf and the lamb. So I don't know. I recognize that the Mandela Effect gives backing to the whole multiverse thing, but even still in my skepticism, I remember things being a certain way, like the cornucopia on Fruit of the Loom was there. There was a cornucopia. There was a big horn that was overflowing with fruit, and that was on the logo.
Britney Spears' dress was the one
before. That one really throws me for a loop. Britney Spears had a plaid skirt in the original, and if you go and you look, it's not a plaid skirt. It's a black skirt.
It's always been black, but I think what we're looking at here
stresses me out.
I thought it was plaid.
What was that?
I thought it was plaid. It wasn't plaid.
Apparently it's black. It's black.
Yeah.
I'm going to do a Google right now, but I'm pretty dang sure it's black.
It's like these small things that they keep changing for whatever reason. And I don't know. I think it has something to do with the Large Hadron Collider. CERN, every time they power that thing back up, they did it in 2016. We get Trump. They did it again recently, I think late last year. And then we just continue to get these anomalies.
Yeah, but
things get changed only slightly.
Yeah, dude, it's black.
Here's the thing with this. What and again, because we're talking about a little bit about dead internet, I'm going to put a little bit more onto the record when we come back on the other end of the break. Is that there is something to be said about how easy it is to astroturf us, and to give a small amount of people enough confidence in any one thing where that is what they 100% know that they remember when they didn't, and then it becomes a religious. I use the word religious because they are just loyal to a religious contingent of people who are always saying this is the way something was, and perhaps there are some really bona fide screwy things that have been edited out of our timeline, and only a little bit remains, and who the hell knows? Maybe it's different for some people and all that, because consciousness is largely an individual thing, and we have competing realities, and it's all just kind of kaleidoscopic and in some ways. But I don't know. I really think that it's pretty easy to get a lot of people believing outlandish shit now that we have just been able to spend the last 2 decades doing nothing but hanging out on the internet. And I mean, you see where people who were once discerning have just completely mailed it in some respects. So that it's just something I think about all the time, though. It is pretty interesting.
I think about that a lot because, we have been on the internet for a long time now. And that means that a lot of our entertainment,
Well,
a lot of
34 years. Actually, it's very interesting. AOL is finally shutting down their
on September.
Oh, are they?
Yeah,
I didn't even know it was still up and running.
End of September, it'll be shut. And I feel like
That's weird.
significant. I feel like you should touch on that, Frank, when that happens, because it's an end of an era, but not just an end of an era, but it's like, it almost feels like we're in for something.
It's the end of the beginning of the end.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
there's
in
always
some ways, but
that's just AOL getting rid of it. Somebody is, depending on where you are, telephone connectivity is probably there's probably going to be a lot of people who still use it in some. Imagine that there are people out there using 56Ks still. And I am, but September 30th is when AOL says no to telephone modem connectivity, and that's I wonder who's going to make officially the last call on AOL.
Ooh. I wonder if there's a way if you could just stay on the internet if they don't boot you off. There was some people on a server for like Halo 1 or something like that for the longest time, and it was like the server ended years ago, but they stayed in the game, and they knew if they left it, it was going to shut down and it was going to be over. And so they just kept, people were sleeping in shifts, and they were staying on and until the last person dropped off.
Here's a psychotic thought. In the movie The Matrix, which is my favorite documentary, the way they escaped the Matrix, they went back and forth, was to pick up this landline. And
those don't exist anymore, dog.
Yeah, they don't exist. And now this landline that AOL was using is now going to be defunct. And that was like a major one. But there are still other ones. I just wonder how much those young ladies knew when they wrote that.
Those young ladies, those sweet budding young ladies. Yeah, man, I don't know. I don't know where this all goes, because the question that I'm forced to ask myself, Frank, is like, what is gained by shaking our confidence in our own memory to that degree?
I don't know.
You can really fracture the memory.
Well, it's like, why do you continue to change the time? When they changed the year, the New Year's was April 1st. And then they started calling people April Fools when they changed the Gregorian calendar to January 1st, because the people who wouldn't comply, instead of calling them conspiracy theorists, they'd say that. And, JFK's death, if you didn't believe that. Well, 9/11, if you don't believe that. COVID, if you don't believe that. And it's just a continual chipping away of what is real. But I think time is a big one. Time, if they can disorient you enough to not know that you don't know where you are, then the rest is all just cake. And that's kind of what's going on.
Well, I think at the very basic level, it is such a, you want to talk about micromanagement. Okay, well, this year we're going to make sure everybody gets the Star Wars line wrong. And next year we're going to screw with the Fruit of the Loom memories.
Dude, what is the Star Wars? Look, it's Luke, I am your father, right?
He says,
he
says Obi-Wan never told you about what happened to your father or something like this. He says, he told me enough. He told me you killed him. No, Luke. I don't know. I don't even know. To be honest, I don't know.
Luke, I am your father.
No, Luke,
and then I heard that that's not the case.
He says, I am your father. The question is whether or not he says, no, Luke, I am your father, or no, I am your father.
He doesn't say
and Luke. I don't. You know what? I don't even give a shit. It's one of those. I don't remember exactly. I'll go check it later. But I see. That's why I said if this is real, if it really is an effect of some other. You mentioned CERN before and popping on the Hadron Collider. If it really is an effect, it has to just be one of those things where, in the process of some much bigger alteration in time and space, there are just a couple of screws that come loose that are totally inconsequential otherwise. Because what the hell significance is it? Okay, the next year we're going to change the Berenstain Bears.
Well, maybe that's it, Frank. Maybe it's not about, maybe that's just a byproduct.
Yeah.
Maybe the goal isn't to fracture, our own memory of reality. Maybe it's it's a byproduct of them trying to achieve something. Yeah, that's probably what, I'm asking the wrong question here.
That's
right?
what I always assumed. I always assumed if it is some sort of a result of technological adventurism, quantum mechanical craziness, then it would just be like a side effect, not like, well, we have to go change this stupid pop culture trivia question and drive everybody
nuts. What they're
nuts.
trying to figure out?
It's like AI.
Wait. They're trying to find a timeline where they win. When Jesus returns and this whole war happens, they're trying to find a timeline where they win and they're not judged.
Maybe it could also be that when you manipulate something, it becomes pixelated. So if you put a pixelated image into AI and you say clean it up, it'll take those pictures, those pixels where it's like a question mark, and it'll be like, maybe you meant this. Maybe you meant a black dress. I don't fucking know. I wasn't there. Like, and that's kind of what they give us back. They're like, was this here?
Well,
we don't know. We don't care. Whatever.
Did you guys ever talk about Bill Wood and Project Looking Glass?
Oh, we've talked a bit about Project Looking Glass. I wasn't familiar with the guy who.
I remember. I think his name is Bill Wood. It was one of the more famous interviews of his from years ago, and his explanation for why the Looking Glass technology, what was going on with that, is that the people in charge have been constantly testing new ways to go about this to avoid some major catastrophe that is coming to the world order of things. And when he was asked about, well, what is this catastrophe that people who have this technology are trying to avoid, that they're trying to test, okay, if we go this route, we make this decision, where does it lead us, whatever. He was saying that it wasn't a end of the world physically. It wasn't, the end of time. It was the end of their world. That no matter that there are the people in charge right now, according to him years ago, I forget when, well over a decade or so, that they were testing with the Looking Glass technology, which timeline was going to help them better get past either a mass awakening, a rising of consciousness, a big reversion back toward worshiping God and getting back to God, knowing just seeing how bad we were in his absence and all that. Whatever the hell it was that gave these people firm footing in the world that they have created right now, that they're still managing and very poorly, creating, as you said before, all that chaos to make sure that we're too preoccupied with that to be able to form any kind of real resistance, or at least quickly working against the clock. That's what he was saying, that it was that they are testing timelines to try to avoid what is the end of their world and their time to have control of it. So whether or not that means a new millennial reign of Christ or something like that, it's up to anybody's interpretation, but it's interesting to consider.
They're doing it all, Frank. They're changing timelines. They're digging tunnels to create their underground bases for when things go down. They're trying to get off planet. They're speaking of a polar shift. And I think one of the biggest things, that's something I think about often, is they say, there's going to be what do they call that? Like a bomb that will take out all of the electricity. They say,
like an EMP, like a solar flare or something like that, right?
Yeah,
that's gonna,
This is one of their biggest fears, and it's going to kill everyone in the world. And I'm like, it sounds like it's just going to knock out all the electricity, all the technology, and all this technology is where these guys exist. They exist on the internet in this fake place. They exist in our, in all the electrical lines and all of the communication and data points that kind of pervert this world. They make it convenient for us. And I love to use this stuff, but in reality, it's like without this, they're kind of powerless to spread their propaganda. So what is an EMP? It's just like an overload of light. And well, what is light? It's like, is that God? Are you
that would set them back, right? Because we often speculate that the entire technological race to get to the point where we can create a large hadron collider and smash together particles and open up portals and shift timelines is because there is something inspiring man from another realm, right? What's her name? Anna Paulina Luna makes this post, and it's basically this diagram, and she's saying that like fallen angels exist in a data realm, which is a wild thing for her to say, but it's fascinating.
And then she goes back to posting like bikini pictures, like, all right,
okay,
that was weird.
That's fine, okay.
Yeah, you want to talk about
but
distraction.
Well, if you, yeah, exactly, right, and that's a weird thing to do
Like,
too.
hey,
It's like, hey, look at this.
tits.
Now look back over
What
here.
about the angels?
But let's say that that's true. You run with this idea. Is like, is that what has been inspiring man for all of these millennia to create technology? Right? Ancient man said that gods gave them agriculture and metallurgy and things like that. The Greeks said that the muses inspired their great works of art. Stephen King says he drinks a lot and demons tell him to write books. So there's like all these different things throughout time that people are attributing the inspiration for their great works to these things that exist in another realm. Do they exist in a data realm? Are we talking that the fallen are there? It would be a real shit show for them if we did have a solar flare of some sort and it did knock out the technology and they were like,
a
crap.
polar shift that knocks out the technology is like all this stuff.
And we were this close to having mankind open up a portal and let us through.
This Tower of Babel that you've been building, it's going to get knocked. It's going to get smacked down. And they know that, but God bless them, man. They're
trying, dude. They're trying their ass off. Yeah, I don't know.
Well, I think they got until November before the real chaperones come. That's
shout out Uamamu for the great work on the reconnaissance.
I know.
mission.
Oh, we found them. Oh, listen to please. This is the perfect time. They're all diddling themselves and questioning their gender. Let's invade now. Let's invade now. Oh, it's just so nuts. Well, listen, boys. It was awesome to have you on again right before, actually we're going to see each other in a couple of weeks. It's going to be really, really grand.
It's going to be fun.
It really is.
I still don't know how to dress.
Go to Old Navy, get yourself anything that isn't one step up from jeans.
Can I wear my J's?
I have golden sneakers. Can I wear my golden sneakers?
We'll figure it out.
Frank. I don't, anything. What is Raven wearing? What are you wearing? Jeans?
I'm wearing black jeans and golden Air Maxes.
This is a no-go for sure.
No, you can't wear
shorts. No, you can't.
Not maybe to a jamboree, but not a soiree.
No. Yeah, jamboree. That's when you have apple dunking. Oh, we have to be able to apple. What do they call it? Bobbing for apples.
We're gonna bob for. I've never bobbed for apples in my life.
That'd be great. It's September. It's September. It would be seasonally appropriate to get people bobbing for apples in a September event.
Does it get cold in New York in September? I haven't lived. I've been living in this tropical climate, enjoying this warm weather for so many years.
I am hoping. Well, all this week, for example, we're around upper 80s, low 90s, and at nighttime we're dropping to 65 to 70, which is beautiful.
Oh, that's nice.
So I'm hoping that September 6th we're hovering around upper 60s and everybody's just having a nice, crisp, cool, awesome evening. It'll be fine. I'm confident it'll be fine. But listen, let everybody know when you're going to be live next, what you got coming up, and do all your plugs.
Man, we're going to be live again tomorrow, right? Tomorrow we're doing Nephilim Death Squad Chronicles. We have schizophrenics. They send us their supernatural testimonies. We read them, we ridicule them, but sometimes they have fascinating information. And so, if you've had yourself a paranormal experience,
we're live almost every day.
We're in the grind.
Either a guest, we're reading listener emails, which is our Chronicle show. It's informative.
It's chroniclesnds@gmail.com. If you're a schizophrenic, you want to submit.
We're going to be doing a new kind of spin-off of the news.
Oh my God. News. Yeah, we're going to do fake news.
Some real news, fake news. We'll mix it up. You decide. Whatever you think. Yeah. But we're grinding. Find us at Nephilim Death Squad on YouTube, Rumble, pretty much anywhere. Audio, listen to us there. Check out TopLobsta.com. That's my website. That's where I put all my brand new t-shirts. I just dropped a bunch of nice stuff.
Oh yeah, super cool designs.
Yeah, it's just go look at the website. Don't even buy anything.
Yeah. Also, you can come to Twitter and you could also hate us there. I'm at David L. Corbo on Twitter. He's at TopLobsta on Twitter, and you could you'll find us there, and you'll go, why does Frank continue to have these people on?
Listen, I just I'm on a path here, man. What am I going to do? I don't care. As long as the conversation flows and I'm able to talk about all the weird stuff that I like diving into, then I'm happy, and I'm looking forward to your 5th appearance sometime in the closer to Halloween. It'll be great to have you back on. We'll think of something really spooky. In fact, maybe what we'll do is we will start a thread and I'll start a thread on my forum and we will co-promote it and get all of your people, my people, to get onto the forum post and put in like their personal ghost stories and things like that.
Oh, dude. Yeah, that's an excellent wow. Yeah, I love that.
Yeah, let's do it. We'll do it.
We wear.
What should we wear? Yeah, what do
That
you wear
night-
at such an event? I
That
don't
night
know.
it could be. That night it'll be sweats. We'll do sweats that
Okay.
night, and
I have silk pajamas.
and pumpkin sweaters that look like jack-o'-lanterns.
That's nice.
I got it.
Okay.
We got it. We're in.
I'm
in.
excited.
All right, boys, have
I'm
a good
excited.
one. Thanks for coming by.
Take it easy,
See you
Frank.
later,
Thanks for
Frank.
having us.
There you
Thank
go,
you, everybody.
Lobster and Raven. They are with a brand new set, man. They came. They came decorative. Imagine that. I'm doing some new things to the set over here, though the actual cameras. I'm always thinking about that too. I would love to get an establishing shot of the room. I have a camera up in that corner, but it's a security camera. So if I patch into it, it's not going to be the best quality. But I would love to get an establishing shot of the room a little bit more and work that in. But because there's so much to look at in here, as many of you will see in a couple of weeks. Before I went live tonight, I was actually in the other room, and I got my acoustic drum set all set up nicely. It is in tip-top condition, so that's all good. Now I'll be making alterations to the rest of the room for the rest of the week. It's going to be good. All right. Real quick, when we come back from this very quick intermission, this is what I'm giving away tonight. My cousin Sherry always delivers some really great retro stuff. And since we're talking about a little bit of space tonight and these space invaders coming to take you out, anybody who sends a super chat through the YouTube, through quitefranklysuperchat.com, the Rumble Rants, and the Gold Pills, you are in the running for it is called Moonport USA, and this is a 5th edition that was published back in 1977, October of 1977, and as it is said to be the authoritative illustrated handbook on technology, history, and the future of space. Oh man, listen, it smells vintage. I love that basementy, beautiful book smell. Look at this. The Saturn V. It doesn't matter if you believe it's all fake. It was all just a waste of time that NASA's been dragging us along in this boondoggle, this big psyop. Have a piece of history and plus a SpaceX mission patch from Grimbold 72. I'm putting these things together. We'll be mailing them out to you. Fun stuff tomorrow. Tomorrow, I'm going to be giving away my copy of the latest Flip City magazine. Is this magazine a psyop? There's Taylor Swift. They're hilarious, awesome. You can get your subscriptions on the affiliates page. I think it's a great birthday gift, a stocking stuffer. But you're going to get my latest copy of Flip City magazine, and also, I believe I got this. I narrowed this down to August. I think this is August 1965. Exploring the Unknown. This is awesome. Lobster and Raven will actually love this. Numbers rule the universe. His evil identity, ritual and spiritual healing, the evidence for immortality, the stately ghosts of England. There's so many awesome things in here, including wonderful old advertisements and things like that from 1965, ghost stories and paranormal investigations, OG paranormal investigations that did not have any outlet like YouTube to talk about it. So tomorrow I'll be giving these away with a super chat raffle. But tonight we got, you know what? And I'll be giving away an album, Sky Goes On by my band, because it's got a spacey kind of a feel to it, the whole thing. So tonight, you're getting this Moonport USA book, the patch. That's what's happening. All right, we'll be right back. Don't go anywhere.
September 6th, Quite Frankly event. I want to see you there. Get dressed. You're going. He drops on to the top. All right.
What? Okay. So listen to this. Thank you, Shane. Shane is always very supportive over there in the YouTube chat room. Says, great show, Frank. Well, thank you, Shane. And I would like to also say that Shane contributed to a wonderful piece of merchandise that is now available on the merchandise store, and that is the Goodfellas shirt with me and Matt. Thank you for that, Shane. And Shane, also, we have it ready to go for October. We have a fall and autumn shirt that Shane designed. Really, really great. I can't wait to own and wear that one. Shane's the man. I really appreciate him. Truly appreciate him. Let me see. All right. So take a listen to this. I know that we've done the topic of dead internet theory before, but it's coming up again. And since we're talking about astroturfing things, we're talking about people misremembering things, and now the AI element that is so much more prevalent. Artificial intelligence was part of the base theory about where this all came to be, and when the internet became a lot less organic. Now, what I would say is that there's a lot of great input here about just what is happening to people as the internet changes. For example, if you go back to, the early 2000s, before the teens began, everybody is mainly just on their favorite websites. They're on their favorite websites. It's maybe they have AOL. After the mid to late 90s, though, AOL was something a little bit less, early 2000s when people just started saying, you know what, I don't need AOL anymore. I've got, you get your internet service provider is coming right from cable at that point, and you don't need dial-up anymore, and everybody's going to cable and DSL and stuff like that, and you're just using internet, and we kept our instant messenger. Everybody kept AIM, but less and less people were actually signing on to AOL and paying for the monthly service. And then came the apps. Then came the social media services that you don't pay for, but it shifted everybody off of the internet that was largely text-based. You're going to different way. You're learning. You're launching sites. That is where everybody was. And then everybody's internet experience really started taking place on little fishbowls, massive amounts of users, but still little fishbowls compared to how much more of the internet we were using to have to go and get this information, that information, to post all over the place. So there's something to be said about that. And once you get people into tiny little fishbowls, it's a very, very easy thing to take away critical thinking. And when you start introducing new features, like we'll get around to right now, take a listen to this. The OP on this forum post that's talking about dead internet theory, which is what they believe really came to be back around 2016 or early 2017. This is where they've got it. Take a look at this. Okay. Roughly in 2016 or 2017, I'm absolutely certain this was some AI of sorts. You're thinking of where I am too, Anon. Here's the timeline as best I can see it. 2004, DARPA's LifeLog project was canceled, and Facebook came into being soon afterwards. 2004 to 12, NSA picks up on DARPA's project under the Total Information Awareness Project. 2012, Smith-Mundt Modernization Act gives the U.S. government full legal authority to use propaganda against its own populace, undoing rules put into place after Operation Mockingbird's discovery and the Church Committee. 2012 to 16, shit tons of DARPA NSA contracts were given to Google, Facebook, Amazon, etc. 2016, leaked memos dating back to 2016, found in 2018, of Google's selfish Ledger project. 2016, Google released a bunch of neurolinguistic machine learning programs. 2017, deepfake leaks started to become released. You remember that? Every day it was deepfake this, deepfake that. In 2017, we thought that this was just a precursor for us getting some, Hillary Clinton insurance folder stuff, Epstein related, blackmail material. We said, oh, listen, they're trying to talk about deep fakes because they're trying to prepare us for some horrendous stuff that's coming out. And of course, blue balls on that one too. 2018 confirmed that for decades, Reddit, YouTube, etc., vote and view counts are fake and completely manipulated. This was on New York Mag, okay? That's what we're talking about. How much of the internet is fake? Turns out a lot of it, actually. This is from December 26, 2018. Going into how, let's see, studies generally suggest that year after year, less than 60% of web traffic is human. Less than 60%. All right, this is nearly 10 years ago. Some years, according to some researchers, a healthy majority of it is bot. For a period of time in 2013, the Times reported this year, a full half of YouTube traffic was bots masquerading as people, a portion so high that employees feared an inflection point after which YouTube systems for detecting fraudulent traffic would begin to regard bot traffic as real and human traffic as fake. They called this hypothetical event the inversion. Okay? So that's why you have no clue when you guys leave comments. Comments is not always the best test of human interaction. But I love when I get emails from people. And I express my gratitude to people as well, too. Because it's just, you just never know. When I get word from people out there, say, hey, I met a fellow Frankly in a barbershop or at a bar somewhere or at some kind of get-together in another state far away, that stuff is the best kind of metric I know. Because who the hell knows? And what does all the fake metrics do? They definitely give legitimacy to something. We are the type of creatures that when we see a crowd, we want to be a part of the crowd. We're like moth to a flame. If it's a very large stream that's going on, sometimes, curiosity gets the best of you. You at least want to peek in to see what people are talking about. And perhaps you think everybody on the stream is an absolute retard. But it doesn't matter. You're getting a little bit more of an insight into what a large group of people are being roped in by. How large actually is it? And how much influence do those types of numbers really have on people's perception of anything or any topic, any issue? Because the larger the numbers, the more authoritative it seems. It's psychological. It's psychological. That's the whole point of astroturfing on the internet or anywhere. Just to completely steamroll somebody with one point of view, making it seem like it is widely accepted and this is the future. So that's a little bit of the timeline. But this guy goes on to say, I blame Facebook and Twitter for what's going on. Listen to this. Then we'll take some calls in a little bit. The internet is a fast way to get info, and info is what moves the mind. And the thing is, the mind likes recognition. When the likes were introduced without negative feedback, they created a copy feedback subconscious. They made it so only positive opinions will be propagated, also accepted, and in its way, negative opinions to be obsolete. On YouTube, they stopped doing that when they got rid of the 5-star system. And they got rid of the star system because of, it started because of Amy Schumer. In fact, there's still probably a handful of you out there who started watching this channel because of my Amy Schumer jokes that popped off after that terrible Netflix got rid of it. Netflix got rid of this 5-star system because of Amy Schumer and how badly people hated it. Okay, they said it had nothing to do with it, but we all know what was going on. And then YouTube, very shortly after that, maybe within a couple of years, they got rid of the downvote button. That you can still downvote it, but nobody sees how much is disliked. And I haven't seen anything even of my own. I mean, you can go, if you want to go see what is disliked, you can go into the back end of your account and take a look at it. But they buried it so good that I haven't even seen it in years. I just pretend that everybody likes everything, which of course you do. So here's the other thing. Now everyone is too cowardly, he says, to have an opinion, so they copy others that they like. Well, I wouldn't say this is for everybody, but it is part of herd mentality, and it does rub off on people. The fast feedback system of the net created a human obsession to be in with trends. Getting away from it makes it so that you always feel like you're missing out. To play it safe in a trend is more easy than to copy what is already accepted. Yeah. Well, anyway, the creation of original content is how the internet used to work. Anonymous people were willing to express their opinions and try radical or experimental things. More truly original content influenced by bots or paid influencers was created due to anonymity as protection against negative feedback. In an old internet, you can start anew every time you posted something. Now add bots to all of that stuff. So that is just like a little bit of the psychological aspect of what the liking, the way that you like or you respond to something, the feedback you're able to give, the way that you're able to maintain your anonymity. Every time there's some kind of a controversy that starts on the internet, always somebody's going to show up and say, we need a way to be able to verify people's identity. If you're going to put your thoughts out there, especially if they're naughty thoughts, then you should have to own whatever the hell you say. It's, you start seeing how the prescriptions continue to be the same thing. But here's the crazy thing. Google. He goes on to say, I believe Google is one of those companies that makes bots. After all, they work like a search engine where they get most accepted content first, the same as doing an ad. And they go into this company from years ago. They're talking about it. This is 2011. They know that they've been doing this since 2010 at least. Here's the Young Turks talking about in September of 2011 about a startup known as Narrative Science. How it's designed a program that writes human-like stories. Right now it's used for sports articles, but it'll eventually be used to write news and politics, or will it be used for news and politics as well? Well, Narrative Science, several investors, including In-Q-Tel, of course, that is the investment arm of the CIA. The CIA, we know, at least through this one company. I'm sure that people like Jason Burmis and others can point to many other instances, but the CIA owns software that creates narratives and writes the news. This has been happening since at least 2010. So when you say dead internet, I think that mainly it's not that internet users are going away. I mean, the only way that a human being is not going to be using the internet anymore is if they're dead. That's just the way the world is right now. And I think more people than ever are using the internet. But the question is that, and I know some people say that the dead internet theory is really just the result of the third world gaining access to the internet. How much that has just destroyed so much. I mean, you think about all the spam that comes out of India and everything else, and a lot of those Asian countries and whatever. What do you think about that? There's just so much more out there, and it's not like it was in the 90s. It just wasn't. So I don't think that people are leaving. You're definitely contending with a massive amount of non-human origin content, but it is it's mainly that there are a lot of programs being run against us that people don't understand, that are trying to shift perception on any number of things and influence human behavior to mainly sell narratives. We talked about that when as it pertains to not necessarily artificial intelligence and how the stock market works, but these feedback loops of how the stock market is really just propagated on automated systems. That can be found in the forum. Oh, I'm sorry, the old blog when we were talking about what the hell was it? Mind War. I think we were talking about Mind War and Michael Aquino. It's all in there. So you just think about that and the fact that the internet has really shrunk to apps, and people are just hanging out on apps. They're not even really going to a lot of websites anymore. There's a lot, but I don't. Now, the whole idea of internet deletion, what do you guys think? How much stuff is getting deleted? How much stuff is getting purged? because I know there's a lot of stuff that I look for from the old internet that is just not there anymore. And it could just be for the sake that there's a lot of websites have shut down over the years. If you know, as you're looking back in the Wayback Machine, maybe you can find something there. But let's go to some super chats right now. Let's see what everybody's talking about. Ron Oswald says, NDS is always fun. Great show, Frank. Thank you, Ron. Larry Whitaker says, you got to do some live events near Dallas. I'd like to come out there to Texas. That would be awesome. Joe Martinez, thank you, my friend. Kobe Shumway, I need to learn about the future of space. Put me in. You got it. The future of space. As predicted from 1977. The big reason why I love these things, no matter what the subject matter is that you get to go in and fact check what they were saying the future was going to be like. And sometimes you find some really interesting shit. Sometimes some things come true. And sometimes you have a little bit more, hindsight being 20/20. You have a little bit more hindsight as to what maybe the ulterior motives could have been for one project, one program or another to be started. I think that these are great finds. And whenever, Sherry comes by and drops a bunch of these on my desk, I'm like, okay, well, I'm going to thumb through this thing and then I want to give it away because I want to see what somebody else finds with their discernment, their own discernment as their guide. Jay Britz says, Lobster and Raven fit right in around here. Lots of fun. Thanks, Frank. Thank you, Jay. And then Crestmont Bear says, I just purchased my flight for the Jamboree. Next is the hotel. I'll see your black ass in September. Yes, you will. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Okay, let's see. Over on Rumble, John Otter is a poo-poo head. Wow, what's John doing? Jay Semo says, I'll take a shot on tonight's raffle. Thank you. Tommy Jekyll says, I'll bite. Let me get let me put the number up. I need people to call in so I can start entering all of these names into the name picker. Tommy says, I'll bite too on a raffle chance, but please, no Taylor Swift material at any time. That's tomorrow. That's tomorrow. And remember, anytime you win something, if you win and you say, hey, listen, I would just like that one thing and you can, pay the other thing forward, you let me know. But that's Flip City. It's not going to be a flattering centerfold for Taylor Swift, whatever it is. That's Flip City. This is some good old-fashioned kind of magazine entertainment that is done right now. It's that's why they call themselves America's Last Laugh. So I think you'll like it, Tommy. JD Mule says, great show as always. John Otter is forgiven. What happened? I'm not even going to ask. Chat room stuff, I just can't. I just wish people could just sit back, kick their feet back and just watch the show. Apparently, everybody just goes to war with each other and sometimes with me. But whatever. Okay, over on Pilled, Delona, thank you so much. Matt from Pilled is just giving out a whole bunch of bronze tier subscriptions. This is what I'm talking about, everybody. Every once in a while, just pop into the Pilled chat room there, and you'll probably be able to claim a subscription, and that gets you all of the perks of membership as a Quite Frankly sponsor for as long as the subscription lasts. And then you get to taste test what a monthly sponsor gets for as little as $5 a month. So thank you, Matt, for your generosity, sir. Rosie Rose, she claimed a 1-month subscription. Valhalla claimed one too. Woot got one, and Amethyst Cat and Safety Net 820 just gifted the cookie to me, a group hug. Well, thank you so much. Okay. 914-200-0269. What do you think has happened to the internet in respect to the people that are on it, the information that you get, the way things were, the way things are now? We're no stranger to dead internet theory, but because the AI keeps popping up and we're talking about kind of, cryptid level disinformation of what's happening and the new types of videos and the way the information of that caliber is spread around, it's good to come back around to this. It is. Other than that, you can call in if you've ever seen one of those black tentacle faced rabbits out there. Those poor little things, man. Those poor little things. If you have a Mandela effect that you've been talking about with people for a long time, if you've actually seen the David statue in person, and you can say, no, there were no divots in those pupils, or yes, in fact, they were always there and people are going nuts, you let me know about that as well. There's more. There's a little bit more, especially on this pig zombie. You want to talk about the rabbit that's had some issues. What do you guys think about this stuff? Because it scares the hell out of me. It's going back to a 2022 Yale experiment wherein scientists brought a dead pig back to life an hour after its heart stopped. They restored blood flow, cell function without a heartbeat, brain activity, or life support. If that sounds impossible, wait till you see how they did it. The pig was clinically dead, no heartbeat, circulation, or breathing. It stayed that way for a full hour, long enough for massive tissue damage. But then they plugged it into a machine that did the unthinkable. So what was this special machine? It's called Organ X. It's a perfusion system that pushes a custom synthetic fluid through the veins of a dead body, and those fluids contain oxygen, nutrients, anti-inflammatories, and drugs that block cell death, and it worked without needing the heart to beat. So blood began circulating again, cells started taking on in oxygen, kidneys, livers, even heart began functioning again. The heart showed spontaneous contractions even though the pig was technically still dead. This begs the question, how is this even possible? For decades, we believed that death was a cliff. The heart stops, oxygen stops, cells die, that's the end. However, this study suggests that death is more than a slow unraveling, and if you act fast enough, you can interrupt that process. But the question is, actually, it's not a question. The statement is, no matter what they're talking about here, they're keeping tissue alive. The pig is not... Wait a second. The pig is not alive, though. Not conscious. So again, I'm just wondering if all of this is just really about preserving tissue. Because once that cord is cut and the soul is no longer there, then what the hell are we talking about? The results were insane. Compared to the pig's treatment with traditional ECMO life support, the Organ X pigs showed better organ structure, less inflammation, less hemorrhaging, far less cell death. They were recovering. And here's the crazier part. Organ X were found to have fewer signs of hemorrhage, cell death, but they did not see the same contraction in samples from ECMO group. This wasn't Yale's first resurrection rodeo. In 2019, the same team used a different system, Brain X, to revive pig's brain 4 hours after death. They restored oxygen flow and cellular activity in the brain. No consciousness, though, but neurons began firing again. No consciousness. That's the thing. That's the only footprint you know. That's the only footnote that you need to know about all this stuff. No consciousness. They're just keeping tissue alive and tissue recovering. So how is this used other than some sort of a way for people to recover parts from people? Do you see this in any other way that would actually be life-saving for people who haven't blanked out? 914-200-0269. You give me a call. That's one last thing I wanted to put out there because, you know, it's a night of weird news, a night of weird topics, and I want your imagination to kick some things around with me. Oh, we just had a couple of calls, and they just bleeped away. Sorry I missed them. Call me back. All right, in the meantime, let's see. Get that out of the way. Get this out of the way. We already talked about that. Good. So then what was it? Okay. Yeah. I have to get the name finder up and I'll wait for you guys. Here we go. Who's this?
Hey, Frank. This is Adam from Atlanta.
Adam, it's good to hear from you. So how did you like tonight's show?
Oh, it was good.
Good.
I was calling about the Mandela Effect.
Okay, great. Now, what are your thoughts on it in general? And then you can talk about whatever, if you have a personal story.
Well, I think generally there's a lot of misremembering that people are putting a lot of weight behind. But the one that gets me is the Fruit of the Loom logo. The one thing about the Fruit of the Loom logo is that I've never seen anybody argue that the cornucopia is the wrong color or shaped differently or it was on the other side or it was in front. It's always that cornucopia, that color, that shape in that spiral.
Right.
Now, I have a feeling that this is a sort of thing where I think I like the idea of they don't doing this on purpose. These are like side effects of whatever the heck is going on.
Okay.
And that they don't really have control over it. I mean, it's tedium. Who cares? Who cares about these stupid things? But it's one of these things where it's just enough information to let people know that something weird is happening. And I think that is the thing that whatever this is, whatever people or entities or whatever is doing, loves. The fact something's happening and there's nothing you can do about it. They love it.
You know, I think I was going to say that before before Top and Raven left, and I'm glad that you were able to put it back right there in center of the stage here. Is that if you were going to say, okay, well, is this just a side effect, or if it's just some minor detail shaken loose? You know, for example, whenever did you ever watch any of the nights that we had Andrew Bashago on the show to talk about his Chrononaut adventures?
No, but I've seen the Chrononaut talked about on various other things like that. Is it the Y files or whatever?
Right.
I'm familiar with it, but I don't think I've seen the episodes that you're talking about.
Well, when he came on and he's talking about all of these missions that he was on as a child, for example, he was talking about all the times that he was sent back in time to Ford Theater the night that President Lincoln was shot. And he said,
I think I may have caught an episode with this guy.
Okay, so then if you go back and you listen to it, what you'll hear is that every time he went back, something was the main issue, the main event of the evening, the shooting of President Lincoln, that always ended the same way. But other things did change as he went back. Like, for example, some nights that he went to the theater, the person at the in the ticket booth was different, or something like that. It's smaller little things.
You know, it's almost like I do building. Like I build stuff for people, contracting type stuff, furniture, that sort of thing. And I always start projects, no matter what they are, in a particular fashion. Right? I've always got certain things I got to do. If you're going to build something that's, you need a scaffolding for whatever you're constructing, right? Something to build upon. And I think those events, those key events, are like the main structure of things.
Mm-hmm.
And all these little details are the cladding of the outside of something. Something, it's not important, like what color the building is made of, or what shingles you choose, just as long as there's a shingle there covering up the roof.
Right.
It doesn't matter. But the roof rafter is a very key detail. And if it isn't there, the whole thing collapses.
Yep.
You know?
And so you know, when I think about if the theories about timeline shifting and tinkering and all that stuff from one giant reactor or another is true, if these things really are being done, and to whatever degree, that's where I can say, okay, well, maybe it is that the Fruit of the Loom cornucopia question is the ticket booth ripper at Ford Theater for someone like Andrew Bashago, or as you were saying when you called him before, what if? Because, for example, as much as we say What the hell is the United States government even giving $600,000 to researchers for to see how cocaine is going to affect Japanese pigeons or something like that? And you say this is a waste of money. Well, you'd say, oh, no. It's unconstitutionally spent money. It's a crime. But I mean, perhaps there is some sort of a baseline reason for that experiment that leads to a much bigger and what we would think a more profound project down the line. Like there's all reasons why experiments are conducted that seem absolutely ridiculous, and many of them are.
I'm absolutely on board with that. But the thing is 2020 revealed a lot of stuff to people. I think it is very fitting that 2020 happened when it did. 2020 is perfect vision, right? It opened a lot of people's eyes to this stuff. Like the idea that these people, whoever these people are, if they are people, you want to talk about craziness with the NDS folks, maybe they're people, maybe they're not. I don't know. But nothing is stopping them from messing with those key scaffolding pieces. Like, I don't put it past some Anthony Fauci in some time lab to F around with something that's a key vital portion of the universe and completely collapse it because they think they're smarter than everybody else. You wouldn't understand.
Yeah, but
see, this is for the betterment of people. See,
here's the thing, and thank you for the call, because this could go on, and we have to have a time travel night again sometime soon, because the theories are great, and I want to hear more. Thank you, Adam. But think about this, everybody. Think about human nature to go a step too far every time. My question is, if time travel in that way, in that regard, were ever invented, whether it be the moment that the crew working on the machine just got the calculations right down on paper, would the world just explode? The second the last mathematical calculation was made on paper, wouldn't the world explode? Because wouldn't that mean that now that you have everything done and you have an entire prototype, you have the blueprints for what could be this world-changing technology to bend time and space, whatever the hell it is, if it's something that can actually impact time and could impact the past, if that's actually possible, then wouldn't you expect it to eventually be misused? Eventually, somewhere down the line, wouldn't it eventually be misused? So I feel like it wouldn't even be like the day that the machine itself is completed. It would be the day that the calculations were completed, because you know that is going to lead to construction and testing and success, and then eventually, even if it's 500 years down the line, a complete disaster. Unless we are living in a present tense that is going to be before whatever disastrous. Like, what if they create the time machine in the year 2026, and it is successfully and carefully managed until the year 2526, and they screw everything up by going back in time to like 2126, 100 years after this night right now, and they screw everything up from there on in. Wouldn't they just be screwing everything up? Everything before that would be fine, right? We would be fine. So maybe the world is already destroyed. Maybe the world is already destroyed because of a experiment that they ran 100 years from now that destroyed everything from 100 years onward. You know what I mean? Does that make sense? And does that only make sense because I'm thinking of time as linear? Oh, well, anyway, whatever. There's so much shit. Let's see. 315, you're on the air. Go ahead.
Hey, Frank, this is Karen. How you doing?
All right, Karen, what's up with you?
Well, I do have a Mandela Effect.
Okay.
I would like to talk about, and maybe some people in the chat can verify if I'm right or not. But in the spring of 1994, I was living in Paris, and I was working for a woman who was involved in the fashion scene at the time. And I remember her one day in May or something, I don't know, it was sometime in the spring, she kept getting calls from her friends. And the calls were that Michael Hutchins of In Excess died from asphyxiation. This was 1994. Now, when I Google it, when did he die? It says he died in, I think, November of 1997. And right now I'm in a debate with Grok to see if I can get him to see if I'm right.
Well, I mean, I don't know what we'll see what the chat room says, and thanks for the call, Karen. So everybody, Karen wants to know if everybody, and Karen, if you're in the several chat rooms, then be on the lookout for what they have to say. What Karen is saying is that she is contesting the date that Michael Hutchins died from. He was the lead singer of In Excess. Now let me do a little bit of a. Let's see. In Excess. Michael Hutchins. Yeah, it says November 22nd, 1997. November 22nd, 1997. Cause of death? I don't know. Let me see here. Oh, he was suicide. Well, that's sad. According to the coroner's ruling, that he was under the influence of drugs. Yeah, all right. Well, I mean, I don't know. That's the first time I've heard of that. If there's anything going on there, do you guys think anything is weird with that? Talk amongst yourselves. Thank you for that, Karen. But you see, that's what I'm talking about. Perhaps there are some little reasons why. Okay, we're going to change something and we're going to measure people's reaction. You know, but after a while, you get it. You get it. We're going to mess with people's remembrance of, Star Wars or whatever the hell it is, or Captain Crunch, or, some other cereal box or something like that. And I mean, after a while you get it. Maybe it's just, there is just a lot of people misremembering things. So that's all I have for you tonight. But guess what? We're not done yet. When we end here, as soon as the end credits roll up, we are going to stay live until the lights literally go out at 9:30 on pilled.net, which is also embedded on quitefrankly.tv, but I'll drop the Pilled link into all the chat rooms. Head over there for Extra Innings. It's 9 o'clock. We're ending now, but I'm just going to be, there's no format, there's nothing. I'm just going to be reading the general chat. I have a couple of things I can show you. I also have some things we can watch together, react together. But we can still take some calls. I'll read some gold pills, whatever it is. Oh, and let me tell you who won. Let's see. Any new super chats? Ron Oswald is the last one. Good. Jen Mule, that's the last one. Good. All right. So then we're all set. We are all set. And over there, I got Tam Growl. Pretend this is my call-in. Safety Net. They're all in there. And Delona is all in there. Here's who's won our space package for the night. The name is Larry Whitaker. Larry, and I think Larry is over there on YouTube. Get in touch with me, Frank at quitefrankly.tv. You're getting your 1977 Moonport, USA, an authoritative illustrated handbook on technology, history, and the future of space. I can't wait to hear this one from you. You're going to get the Set the Charge 2017 release and a SpaceX patch. Thank you, Grimbold72. Get in touch with me, Larry. This is yours. And then tomorrow we'll have some more fun stuff to give away. Let's do it. I will see you on the other side of the end credits, everybody. Thank you again to the boys of Nephilim Death Squad. It's been wonderful. And now we're going to spend some quality time together. Hopefully, maybe you'll see things that you've never seen before. Because the last couple of times we're doing end credits, guys, I'm going into the Zeralza archives. I'm going 20 years back, sometimes more. And it's been a lot of fun. Almost like what we did on Saturday night when we went back to 2004 on Saturday night. A lot of fun stuff. And some of those recording sessions that we did in Peekskill, New York, when we were all in, just getting into college and stuff like that. So I will see you guys shortly. Be well. And until tomorrow night, we got Jay Gulanello in the other room, and also a wonderful guest joining us at 7:30. Sam from the Posture Dojo. This is going to blow your mind. Incredible. That's tomorrow, starting at 7 o'clock. Nighty night.
I'll catch you on the flip side.
All right. Good evening, everybody. Thank you so much for being here, and I hope you enjoy yourselves. And now to our wonderful super chatters and supporters of the show tonight. Thank you to Ron Oswald, Larry Whitaker, the winner, Joe Martinez, Kobe Shumway, Jay Britz, and Crestmont Bear. You guys were wonderful. Thank you to JD Mule, to Tommy Jekyll, to Jay Semo, and right up top of everybody else over there on Rumble, Scott is here. I hope you're all well. I'll be seeing you guys on Pilled in just a second, so I'm not going to get rid of those gold pills just yet, or anything at all. So, good night.